Up and Adam, everybody, and thank you for joining us right here on Wake Up Worcester. Coming up later on this morning, the cleaning coach is going to be coming by telling us how we can do a little spring cleaning. Also, Worcester Local First has a food drive that is going on to help the Worcester County Food Bank. We're going to tell you how you can get involved in that, and that's straight away coming up as well. But right now, Fran Ford is with us. He's running for Governor's Council. Fran, good to have you on this morning.
Thank you, Hank. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Yeah, not your first run for office.
No, it's not. I actually ran the first time for the town moderator's position in Paxton back in 1996, and I've been reelected every 3 years ever since. And then in 2002, I ran for and was elected Worcester County Superior Court Clerk of Courts.
So Worcester County Superior Court Clerk of Courts, large area that you ran in. How many towns?
A huge area, like 60. But this district is even bigger. This district comprises 68 cities and towns in 6 counties, parts of 6 different counties. So it's the equivalent of 5 senatorial districts. If you take the 5 senatorial districts from Worcester County and you put them all together, contiguous districts, that's what it is. It's bigger than a congressional district, for example.
Wow, it really is. How do you run in that large an area?
You just work, work, work. You start early and you stay out late.
Well, you got to knock on every single door in all 68 communities.
That's going to be tough, but we're going to do our best. Yep.
What does the Governor's Council do?
Primarily, Hank, the Governor's Council confirms judges and clerk magistrates who the governor happens to nominate for those positions. And that's why I think it's perfect for me, frankly. I've been around the legal system for 35 years now. Like I said, I was the Clerk of Courts in Worcester County Superior Court. I've been the President of the Massachusetts Bar Foundation, the President of the Worcester County Bar Association, practicing law for 30+ years, so I think it's perfect.
When you get out there and you start to run for this, and you tell people that you're running for Governor's Council, is that a question that you get a lot?
Absolutely.
You know, what is it the Governor's Council do? Is that a good thing? I mean, it's been around for forever. Shouldn't we sort of know, or does that mean that it doesn't do a whole lot?
It's been around since colonial days.
Yeah.
Sam Adams was a governor's counselor, and I like Sam Adams. I like the beer, and I like Sam Adams as a guy. So, but it is a question you get, and you get it frequently. It's not a very visible office. It does meet on Wednesdays every single week at the State House. It signs warrants for the governor, the treasurer's warrants get signed. It also has a role in commutations and pardons, but there haven't been many of those since the Willie Horton days, and probably won't be many of those coming down the pike. It also confirms notaries and justices of the peace, but it is a legitimate question because it's frequently asked. What do they do?
Yeah, I remember when Jordan Levy was served on the Governor's Council, and suddenly it became high profile. So it can become high profile if there's a controversy. But I remember when he was running, Fran, and I was wondering if this issue is even still around, that there were some people that were saying that it was a body that had outlived its usefulness. Get rid of it.
That comes up all the time. But because it is a constitutional office, which means it was mandated in the Massachusetts Constitution, it probably won't be successfully gotten rid of, so to speak. You need to pass it through the legislature, through a congressional constitutional convention, rather, and then it has to go before the voters. And once the voters realize that this is the only elected body between them and the judiciary, they don't want to take it away. That's what the experience has been.
Once they find out what it really is and what it does. What do you want to do? If you're elected to the Governor's Council, what do you want to use that position for?
I want to make sure that we get the most qualified men and women to serve on the bench and to serve as district court and juvenile court and housing court clerk magistrates. They're very powerful positions. In the terms of the clerks, they're lifelong positions. They can stay until the day they die if they wish. So it's important that you get the right person, man or woman, to serve in those positions. The judges are almost lifelong. They now have to retire at age 70. And again, there's a recall provision for some of those, so you do get people that can serve forever and forever. You want to make sure you get the right people, and I think that's where my experience in the law, that's where my experience in the court system will be helpful in determining who would be the best qualified.
So there are some hypotheticals. There are some cases where you could see where you would vote no, where somebody might. So it's not a rubber stamp by any means.
It's far from a rubber stamp pick, and that is what people think it is. But I remember in 1999 when Governor Stolz nominated Margaret Marshall to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Judicial Court. She was then an Associate Justice of the Supreme Judicial Court, had only had a few years' experience on the court. There was a very contentious full-day hearing, occupied the entire Gardner Auditorium at the State House, and up until the last second, I didn't know how the vote was going to go. She could have been confirmed or denied, so it's far from a rubber stamp. There's another woman who was nominated who ultimately did not get appointed, so it's not a rubber stamp at all.
Well, and when you use the name Margaret Marshall, I mean, think of how she has impacted this state over the last 10 years.
Exactly.
I mean, been involved in huge decisions that have, that people really every day. I mean, it has impacted some of our lives. So yeah, so it is a very, very important role. A little bit of the nuts and bolts about it. Running as a Democrat, what made you decide that you wanted to actually throw your hat in the ring and do this?
You know, it's funny. It's a job I've always wanted to do. always wanted to do, because I love practicing law and I love politics. I have since I was 14 years old. This allows me to do both. The clerk's job was great, but I was really restricted. I couldn't practice law, and so I didn't run for re-election. A lot of people shook their heads and couldn't believe I was walking away from a $110,000 a year job, but I missed the practice of law. This allows me to practice law 4 days a week. It allows me to keep my political energies going, if you will, and I have tons of those, and get out there and just do it. So that's what made me want to do it. I wanted to do it even 4 years ago when the seat opened up, but Dennis McManus, who was then the governor's counselor, decided to run for clerk of courts, to my surprise, and I said, oh, people will think there was a deal, and there was no deal, so I didn't throw my hat in the ring then.
Right, that you guys were just
So I'm glad it's opened up again.
Yeah, that is interesting. Are you going to be able to get out to all 68 communities?
I will get out. I'll make it a point to get out to all 68, yes. And I've been to a lot of them already. I went to 6 caucuses one day in February, one Saturday in February.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. I mean, again, give us a little behind the scenes of how one runs for office.
You need to get 1,000 certified signatures, which means you really better collect 1,600 or 2,000 in case some get tossed out. So when the Democratic caucuses met to select convention delegates, I'd go to those. One Saturday morning I was in Fitchburg, and then by the middle of the afternoon I was in Milford. So I mean, it just, it's a huge district, and you just have to do it.
I think people maybe don't understand how much work. I mean, in order for you to say, wake up one morning and say, boy, I'd like to be the governor's counsel, you obviously have a passion for it. You feel that you can do the job well. But you also have to have the passion to get out there and do what you just said and be able to run for it. And not everybody wants to go to the ham and bean suppers and the caucuses and all that goes along with it.
Have you been talking to my wife? The day after those 6 caucuses, the Sunday, I went to Dudley, collected all of, I think 6 signatures.
Oh, boy.
I then drove from Dudley to Warren and collected 4 signatures. So yeah, you really have to do it. And I was away last week. I came home last Saturday, went to the We People convention in Clinton on Saturday morning, and went to the Emerald Club dinner on Saturday night. So you're right, you've got to be out there all the time.
You have to love not only what the job is going to be, you have to love this part of it too.
I do love it, probably too much.
Yeah.
I've frequently said, maybe if I had just become a drug addict, I could have gotten treatment for it and gotten it out of my system. But this, you cannot get it out of your blood.
There will be a reality show for recovering politicians at some point.
You have to be a political junkie, and fortunately for me, I am.
Yeah. People want to be part of the campaign. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, we have a website which hopefully will be up by the end of the month at www.franford.com. But I am in the book. I live in Paxton. They can call me at home. They can call me at my office in Worcester. People can reach me. And I'll go to the opening of an envelope. So anybody who wants to get me involved in anything, please feel free to call.
Fran, thank you for stopping by this morning.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Right here on Wake Up Worcester, we're going to hear about the Hunger Hurts food drive that's on the way.